Welcome back everyone to another video, and in this video I'm going to cover units in Parramatta. Now if you're wondering why I'm making this video, it's because I got a question from a community member recently about whether or not Parramatta units in Sydney is a good investment opportunity, and the reason for that is really summarized into a couple of points. One, it's very affordable, and number two, it's great in terms of cash flow. But does that make it a good opportunity? And with more and more investors looking at units as an investment opportunity because the yields are strong and because it's affordable, I wanted to make sure I cover this in a video for you guys to fully understand. And if you haven't already, jump into the private community, guys. We have close to 250 members helping each other out on a daily basis. And if you have questions like that community member did, where you are questioning about which suburb to invest into, whether it's Parramatta, whether it's Melbourne, whether it's Rockhampton, I can answer that question for you guys with the latest data available, with the latest information, and tailor it to your personal strategy. That's the most important thing. It's not a one size fits all. It has to be tailored towards your goals and your brief, and that is where I can help you for an affordable price point, guys. And so don't wait any longer, jump in the community, get the help you need, and let's head back into the video. Now the first most important thing is to look at the data behind it, and when you look at Parramatta, you can see that the buy price is around $670,000 at a median level. Now you can find properties anywhere from around 550 all the way up to close to $1 million, and you can see the yield is about 5.9%. I've seen yields go from about 5% all the way up to 7% depending on the property deal itself. And when you look at the data behind it, you can see that prices are slowly on the increase with about 2% growth over the past 12 months. So nothing stellar, nothing spectacular. It could just be slower momentum upwards. And you can see the last real resurgence was back in 2011, where the prices really grew up to about 2015, and then since 2015 over the past decade it has been stagnating, and it's been stagnating for quite a while. And when you look at the rental return has been pretty decent with about 3% growth over the past 12 months, which is certainly a positive to see. And I do think rents are still going to increase further and further in Parramatta, especially with the lack of negative gearing and more population growth in this area as well. Parramatta is going to continue to boom from a rental perspective, which means cash flow is going to be pretty strong with these sort of opportunities. But I do want to touch on more on that in the video as we go along. But when we look at the data, we don't actually see a very positive story at the moment. We can see overall stock levels have been increasing, and even though demand is high with around properties being sold in about a month or so, the overall inventory level is around 4 months, which means that there is just a lot of stock available at the moment, and it doesn't really paint us a good picture that capital growth is going to come in the next 12 months. Now that can change if a whole bunch of investors were to go in and flood the market and push up prices. That could certainly happen, but at this point in time it's still going to take about a month, 2 months, 3 months for us to see a noticeable difference. And if it does ever change, I will be the first to let you guys know. I don't gatekeep location. Now what's the positive though? The positive is that vacancies are incredibly tight. Even though there are a lot of units in Parramatta, the vacancy is low because people rent out. It has great transport networks to the city, and a lot of young IT professionals live and work from that area. And we go on, the positives is that it's incredibly affordable, it's under 30 years, and a person on a dual income can buy an apartment and basically pay it off within about 10 years or so if they are very due diligent. But when you look at the metrics, you can see the unit to house ratio is at 93%, which means there's a lot of units in the area, and you don't need a hashtag source or a data source to tell you. All you have to do is look at Google Maps and you can see units upon units upon units around this area. Now of course there are some houses, but there are a lot of units in this area, which is going to directly impact how much your unit prices can actually grow. And we take an example, we can look at this property here, 7203 1/A Morton Street in Parramatta, sold for $680,000. And when you look at it, it looks like a beautiful home to live in. It's a small unit, but just on this photo alone, you can see the amount of new apartment complexes right nearby it, right? And this picture once again also reaffirms just how many units there are. And this will all impact your ability for capital growth to happen on a unit like this. And even though it looks stellar and it's affordable at $680,000 for a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom unit, it doesn't really make sense. But let's keep on going regardless. Now we can see this unit will rent out for $720,000 to $750,000 per week. So when we put the numbers in our cash flow calculator, we can say $680 buy price, stamp duty is around $25,000 or so. At a 20% deposit, you're going to need about $167,000, which is certainly no chunk of change. It's a decent amount of money. And when you put the rent per week at $750 per week, you're getting around 5.7 to 5.8% in terms of yield. When I look to purchase units, or if you're looking to purchase units, you really want about 6 to 7% yields at a minimum. If you get above 6.5, it's good. If you're getting closer to 7, that's where you really want it to be. because that is when we can say, okay, the cash flow is starting to help us outweigh the lack of capital growth. But until that point, 5.7 to me isn't enough to justify it. Because when you start to look at it, and for some reason, these guys didn't mention the strata on their ad, and so I'm going to assume it's around $4,000 or so. I would say it's a little bit on the conservative side. For a modern unit, you're getting around $1,000 per quarter. Sometimes it's a lot more, sometimes a lot less. But that will put you at a negative cash flow around $10,000 or so. And if you've been watching my other videos, there are other better opportunities out there for $680,000 that will have very similar cash flow. Now it'll be around negative $12,000 to $13,000, but for 2 or 3K, I would much rather go with the house with better land component that has a better chance for capital growth over the long term, even though the short term cash flow isn't good. And so you have to really understand that even though the unit itself may seem like a good opportunity because of the cash flow, in this instance, it's not painting the best picture for me. Now, of course, you can find better units out there. Now I picked this one. It paints a picture because one, you don't want to buy high density units and you want to find opportunities with better cash flow, in my opinion. And apart from that, 93 unit to house ratio is just too high. In fact, if you go look at my past videos right across Melbourne about Melbourne units, about the rented to owner occupier ratio, you know that I'd like to have below 50% for unit to house ratio and below 50% for the rented to owner occupier ratio. And this doesn't really make the cut. Now there could be a time and place where Parramatta units are so significantly undervalued compared to the houses in the area where it will make sense to invest into it. But I will see it in the data leading up to it, and it's not going to happen in the next month or two. And so I will always keep you guys informed. And for those of you who don't really know Sydney, Parramatta is a pretty central hub towards Sydney. In fact, you've got direct train lines from Parra to Sydney, which will get you there in about 40 minutes or so. A lot of young professionals live and work in the area. It's got a lot of culture, food nearby. And so it's a growing area for sure. But from a capital growth perspective, I don't think it makes sense to spend $700,000 in this area. However, there is a second part to this. And the second part is equally as important. Now, some investors or some first home buyers will come to me and say, all I can afford is around $600,000. I want to buy a unit in Sydney because I just want an easy life to live and work. And so if you are looking around that Parramatta sort of area, really the locations that I would be looking at is sort of the Wentworthville area, the Westmead and the South Wentworthville area. Now, it's not necessarily much more stellar compared to Parramatta, and you're not going to get massive amounts of capital growth compared to Parramatta. However, objectively, it is better from a capital growth perspective compared to Parramatta. And it's an important distinction to make. When you look at Wentworthville, you can find a pretty similar sort of data, $650,000 median buy price with a yield of around 5%, and you can find yields around 6 to 7% in Wentworthville as well. And when you look at the opportunity, you can see prices are slowly starting to shift up. Again, nothing significant in terms of movement, and the rental growth is still being pretty good, around 2.5% over the past 12 months. So very similar to Parramatta, but the actual data behind it is just very slightly better. Now, not by much. So again, don't expect massive amounts of capital growth over the next 3 months or anything like that, guys. New stock on market is dropping. Demand is pretty solid, around 49 days, so about a month or two to sell. And inventory is lower, around 2.7 months, which is pretty okay for a unit market, but nothing stellar. Vacancy rate is pretty tight, around 1.31%. And when you start to scroll down, it has a little bit of a better picture compared to Parramatta. The rent to owner occupier ratio is 48%, so below our threshold, but the unit to house ratio is around 74%. So not as bad, but definitely not stellar in any shape. And the reason why I think Wentworthville is a better opportunity is because you can find properties or units at a better market value compared to Parramatta. And what I mean by that is you can find a 2x1 apartment for $520,000. It's not just an old shabby apartment. It's a decent apartment. It's got a good interior, perfectly rentable, perfectly livable. It's a brick unit. It's low density, and it has more opportunity, in my opinion, compared to that Parramatta opportunity I showed you earlier. And I believe it has a lock-up garage as well. And when you start to scroll down, it can also rent for $600 to $620 per week. So quite good on the rental return perspective compared to the price point that you are paying. And Wentworthville is pretty close to Westmead, where there's a hospital, and it's also got a decent train line towards the city as well. So once again, young professionals can live and work in this area, and there's also just less high density units in Wenty as well. Now, there are units I know right across that Parramatta Road, which could impact capital growth, but when we're looking at properties like this, it's rent ready, it's affordable, it's below replacement cost. You're not not going to build a unit for $520,000 ever again. And so the case and argument is much better for this perspective. So if you're a first home buyer, you're looking at buying a property, you're trying to avoid stamp duty, you're trying to use a 5% deposit scheme, you're trying to find something affordable that you can live and buy for your first time, and you're trying to weigh up the pros and cons, I think this opportunity is much better for you compared to something like this in Parramatta. And so I want to make it very clear. Do I see Parramatta exploding in capital growth over the next 3 months? Not really. Do I see some affordable opportunities? Yes, but it's going to take time, and I don't expect growth overnight. And if you're spending any more than $550,000 to purchase a low density unit in this area, you're spending too much money. If you have a budget over $600,000, you should be buying a house anyway. Simple as that. And if you have any questions at all, let me know down in the comments below. If not, jump in the private community and I will help you guys out. Till next time, thank you very much.